The Dyatlov Pass incident began with a simple expedition. 9 experienced hikers, a frozen mountain range in the Soviet Union, and a route that should have ended with all of them returning home. Instead, it became one of the most disturbing mysteries of the 20th century. Even now, more than 60 years later, nobody can say with complete certainty what happened on that mountain. In January 1959, a group of students and outdoor experts set out across the northern Ural Mountains in the Soviet Union. They were young, physically capable, and highly experienced in winter trekking. The expedition was led by Igor Dyatlov, a 23-year-old engineering student whose name would later become attached to the tragedy itself. Their goal was to reach Otorten Mountain, a remote region known for brutal weather and almost no human presence. At the time, the Soviet Union celebrated expeditions like these. They represented discipline, endurance, and collective strength. The hikers carried cameras, journals, maps, and enough supplies for a long journey through deep snow. And at first, everything seemed normal. Photographs from the expedition show smiling faces, joking around campsites, hikers building fires, repairing equipment, walking through endless white landscapes beneath heavy skies. Then, sometime during the night of February 1st, something changed. The group set up camp on the eastern slope of Kholat-Syakhl, a mountain whose name in the local Mansi language roughly translates to Dead Mountain. That night would be their last. When the hikers failed to return on schedule, search teams were eventually sent into the mountains. What they discovered made almost no sense. The group's tent had been ripped open from the inside, not collapsed, not damaged by weather, cut open. Their belongings were still inside: boots, coats, supplies, cameras. But the hikers themselves were gone. Investigators found footprints leading away from the tent and down the slope into the snow. Some of the tracks showed signs that several hikers had left barefoot in temperatures approaching -30 degrees Celsius. The first bodies were discovered beneath a cedar tree nearly a mile from the campsite. 2 hikers were found wearing only thin underclothes beside the remains of a small fire. Nearby branches had been broken high above the ground, suggesting someone had climbed the tree in desperation, possibly trying to see back toward the tent. Further searches uncovered more bodies scattered across the mountain. And then the injuries became even stranger. Some hikers showed signs of severe internal trauma, fractured ribs and skull damage, described by investigators as comparable to a car crash. Yet, externally, there were almost no visible wounds. One victim was missing her tongue. Another had missing eyes. For decades, these details fueled endless speculation. Alien encounters, secret Soviet weapons testing, avalanches, military experiments, even paranormal theories. The Soviet investigation eventually concluded with an unusually vague explanation. The cause of death was a compelling natural force. Then, the case was quietly closed. For years, Soviet secrecy only deepened the mystery. Documents disappeared, witness accounts conflicted, and many people believed the government knew more than it admitted. But over time, researchers began revisiting the evidence using modern forensic analysis. Today, the most widely accepted explanation is far less supernatural, but no less terrifying. Many investigators now believe a small slab avalanche, or sudden snow collapse, forced the hikers to flee their tent in panic during the night. Disoriented in blizzard conditions, suffering hypothermia, separated in darkness, the group likely became trapped in a chain of fatal decisions from which there was no recovery. Some injuries may have been caused by falls into a hidden ravine beneath deep snow. And the missing soft tissue, eyes, tongue, was likely the result of natural decomposition and scavenging after death. In 2020, Russian authorities officially reopened the case and largely supported the avalanche explanation. But even now, not everyone is convinced. Because the Dyatlov Pass mystery was never just about how 9 hikers died. It was about the feeling left behind by the evidence. A torn tent in the middle of nowhere, footprints disappearing into frozen darkness, and a silence so complete that even decades later, it still feels unfinished.